Good day, everyone. I'm back again with another video, and this time, all my videos are personal, but this one is very, very personal. Um, yeah, it's the story of how I became a Christian. Something that I wanted to do for a while, but wasn't quite confident. Is yeah, in doing. So I'm just gonna start with it. So I'm gonna start back in March 2024. Small March till around about May. So if you've watched the other videos, you would know during this time that I was at my internship at a safari company as a digital marketing intern. Check my LinkedIn, you'll see. They, the people did nothing wrong. Please don't go and post hate comments on their stuff. Uh, yeah, so during that time, the internship was heating up, like it was really becoming like you're working now, it's time to grow up. And I hated it. I'm not gonna lie, I hated it. I didn't hate the people, I just hated the work, and it led me to spiral. I started feeling depressed, like I've mentioned this before. I would want to leave, obviously finish the day. Once I get home, there'd be like a full 30 minutes where I just sit in my room and just vegetate on my phone, just doom scrolling. Then I would stand up, sort something out for dinner, eat. Then after dinner, I'll just continue vegetating because I didn't have to wash dishes obviously because that's my brother's to do. Um, I didn't want to go to bed, but eventually I would fall asleep. The reason why I don't want to fall asleep is because I knew the next day I have to go back to work again, and just that cycle was very, very depressing. Near the end, I was like, I'm just showing up as a body, doing what I need to, and I don't care. I really don't care. It was a depressing state. During this time, also, that was actually my greatest fear of going to work, hating it and dreading it, and sitting behind a computer, not being able to do physical activity or interact with people on a like as part of my work. Because with digital marketing, basically what I was doing, I was working on the back end of the website, of websites that the company owned. So the content, pictures, sourcing of the content, um, just we have meetings about it and then make sure everything is correct on the website. Um, there was also a major launch happening during that time in the company, so there was just a lot going down and it was a lot of pressure. And during that, obviously, I was looking for an outlet, and this already started before I joined the company, but during that time too. And I'm gonna make a full video on this. Um, just I looked for comfort in all the wrong things. As I said, I was doom scrolling. It was bad. It was horrible. When I mean doom scrolling, it was 3 a.m. in the middle of the night. I'm still up just scrolling on my phone, sending my friends the videos to the point. Maybe not during that time, but I remember one of my friends said I was sending so many notifications through on the group to the point where his phone actually froze and it stopped working for a bit because it just couldn't process with the amount of notifications coming in. That's how bad it was. And also there was a lot of lust and looking for comfort in sex. And it's not something that I'm proud of. There's a lot of shame that I still carry from that time, but it was my only vice, I can say, because I'm not a person who was drinking. I wasn't that much into alcohol because I grew up around people. I had drunk uncles growing up as a child, so I knew the effects of alcohol. and drugs. I grew up in an area where there was a lot of drugs. Like I grew up in Phoenix, so I know what drugs do to people. So lust and sex were basically my vice. And then the internship ended. Then I was like, there's slightly relief because I don't have to do that thing anymore. But then there was a learnership that I eventually got, like maybe I'd say a week or two after the internship ended. And then there was a lot of uncertainty during that. Yes, I got to the internship, but the learnership, it was for, I forgot, it was some IT course that I was doing. I was like, let me just do something because I was desperate. I was like, there's no money coming in, let me just get money in. And it was easy money also because it's something that I don't really have to use too much of my brain power. Uh, Still depressed during this time, by the way, and these vices are still continuing. And with the uncertainty of when the start day of the learnership is going to start, I was just vegetating at home, being a degenerate, obviously. Like, people couldn't tell. I know people couldn't tell because I told my parents what was going on. Not to this extent, but I told them it was bad. But I could see people, like the people around me couldn't tell that I was going through a tough period in my life. So this was June. July, like July till around August, I eventually decided to end the learnership because I was like, this is just a waste of time. I actually collected like 2 checks from it. Like I got money from it, even though I didn't do anything. But that it was not on me. It was actually on the company that was running the learnership because they took too long. Not too long, but I was waiting for so long, and I quit. Like I just decided I could have stayed even longer, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna commit myself to something that is not running. But also there were things that I just looked at my life. I'm like, this is a mess. I need to fix this mess. So I quit everything, and the season eventually finished because I played hockey during that time. Um, I had surgery on my lower back, on my tailbone. There was a cyst that put pressure on my tailbone to the point where I couldn't even walk. I felt it like the Wednesday, then the Thursday it was bad. Then the Friday morning I couldn't walk at all. Like going from my bedroom to the kitchen, which is like less than 5 meters. It was too much. So I went into emergency. I had emergency operation, and then for like 2 weeks I couldn't play at all. But then the season finished and quit everything. Now everything is done. I started questioning everything, my life. I basically had an existential crisis, well and truly. That is what I can describe it as. An existential crisis. Um, Started investigating all religions. And around this time also, I had started listening to the Bible, but not to become a Christian, but just to listen to the Bible, just for the sake of listening, because it was also recommended to me by one of the guys that I was watching. It was an esoteric guy that I was watching on YouTube. He was like, check out the Bible. There's like a lot of wisdom that you can use from it. It's like extracting all the other stuff that we don't want, but we want this um, information. There's actually I'll post a video by Mike Winger that basically dispels what this guy was trying to do with the Bible. Um, but yeah, I'll definitely put that in the description. So I investigated all the religions, um, questioning everything because I had existential crisis. I genuinely don't believe we're supposed to be on this earth. First of all, it happened all by chance. Like some big bang happened in the sky, a big bang happened in space, and everything just materialized as we have it today. I genuinely don't believe that. And for this, for us to just grow up, go to school, and then we go, what, 12 years of school, 4 years of university, and then work for 20 years, 20 to 40 years, and then you just retire, and then you only enjoy the last few years of your life where your energy is gone. I want people to enjoy their life, but also do not become a degenerate. There's a balance. There's a balance with everything. So I genuinely didn't believe. Yeah. Also, even in the early, like in my 20s, I don't believe that we should be wasting it away. We should be building towards something. So it was just all of that culminating during that time. And then once I had my surgery, everything just got thrown off. And the last comparison, because I finished the internship that stopped, so everything, I'm not working, so I'm comparing myself to the people that are in university and actually have something concrete, and I don't have anything, so it's set in again. As I've said, I've spoken about comparison in a previous video. That's set in. Existential crisis, just had surgery. There's a lot going on, and this led to my darkest days. I would genuinely say these are my darkest days of my life. Um, this is like September to January, so September 2024 till January 2025. Recovering from surgery, just vegetating at home, still investigating all religions, so depressed, comparing myself to everyone. Like I would sit in my bed for like 16 plus hours. 16 plus hours on social media. Just I'm either doing that or I'm just binge watching anime. That during that time I finished the whole of Dragon Ball. When I mean the whole of Dragon Ball, I mean Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and then I also watched Dragon Ball, what? Which is the latest one? Not Daima. The other Dragon Ball. How could I forget the name? You know which one I'm talking about, where the total power is. Yeah. I basically watched the whole Dragon Ball thing. And then I also watched the whole of Attack on Titan. I watched all of that during that time. So I was binge watching anime, doom scrolling 16 plus hours on social media. And I truly, well and truly, I let myself go. Fitness, I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. I genuinely did not care. And it's dark. As I said, these were the darkest days of my life. But through that, eventually, I realized that with all that went down, and the last was bad during that time. Like the people, I was sleeping with people, I was doing all sorts of stuff. Things that I'm not proud of till this day. People in the world say, oh, be player, be this, be that. Nah. I'm still ashamed. I've been scared to share these things. And just writing these things down was actually a lot. But here I am. I'm doing the hard things now. So then I started taking care of myself again in February 2025. Continued and finished listening to the Bible. Then I built my fitness up for the season, because that was actually the main reason why I decided to focus again, because I knew the season was coming up. So it's like, it's time to lock in, because I want to make this season better than the last. I'm like, let me lock in. I'm gonna start doing what I need to do again. Then got the season started, finished the Bible. I started volunteering at an APD, and as I was finishing the Bible, actually the Old Testament, the Holy Spirit started speaking to me. But at that time, I didn't know it even was the Holy Spirit started like speaking to me. I was just confused. I heard a voice like in the middle of the night after I just woke up from a dream, and I knew one thing. I knew this was not me. Like it sounds like I'm tripping, but there's certain things that you know. This is not me. I know my internal voice, and I know the voice I heard was not me. So I was like, it was telling me about the story of Paul, and like I was like, okay, Paul. Let me just search up the story of Paul on YouTube. Then I searched it up. Then I just watched the video on it. I was like, okay. And the next one was Mark 13:14, which is the abomination of desolation. It's talking about the end times. And that one got me scared because I was like, whoa. Because I hadn't even read the New Testament yet. I was still in the Old Testament at these times. I was scared. I was like, whoa, is the world about to end? And I messaged my mom in a panic. I was like, I woke up and this is what's going on and I want to send it, but I was like, I'm gonna create panic. And I don't want to create panic, so I just deleted the whole message. And it's like 3 a.m. in the morning. Eventually, I finished the Bible and listened to what Jesus was saying in his parables and everything. I was like, this is it. This is genuinely what I've been looking for. So I finished the Bible, and then I was like, there's a lot of wisdom in this book, and let me find people who analyze it well and use it for the right reasons and know how to apply this book to its full capacity. So I discovered Think Biblically by Mike Winger. He has a website, but I normally watch his podcast, his 10 questions podcast that he releases on Fridays on YouTube. I just recently went back. I actually started listening to him again because I was like, I haven't listened to this guy in so long. It's like almost a year ago. I didn't listen to him. So I was like, let me listen to him again. And it's still gems till this day. So I had that. And then I recommended the Bible to my friends because I enjoyed it so much. They're like, you guys must read this thing. And then while I was watching Think Biblically, I got convicted on joining a church. So I had left the church when I was 12. There was a bit of church hurt in that whole process, but also my dad couldn't keep taking me to the church that I went to because I went to a Roman Catholic church on the other side of the city. So Bahu. Yeah, it's basically the other side of the city. I went there and then I was like, he can't keep taking me there, so and there was church hurt, so I was like, it's fine. And then most of my teen years I was basically an agnostic. I knew God existed, not just because I grew up in the Catholic Church, but I knew spiritually that there's more than meets the eye. Well, there is more than meets the eye. Because there's certain events that happened in my childhood that I was like, there's something here that we're interacting with that we don't know or we can't see. And also, I grew up in a Xhosa household, like for the first 8 years of my life, where people are bazisangoma. So yeah, the spiritual components are there. Like the spiritual realm, I know it exists, even though I can't see it. I know God exists. I know angels and demons exist. I know that stuff. So this thing of being an atheist and not believing in God, it didn't make sense to me, and it will never make sense to me. So he convicted me on looking for a church, and then I started looking for the church. But then also one of my friends sent me an invite to his church. I was like, whoa, okay. I'm gonna think about it. I ignored it I think I ignored it for maybe a week, and then eventually I got back to him. I was like, he told me where the church was and all that. I was like, I can't really make it there because of time. It's like in the morning, I don't have transport to get there. So then, eventually, I had a dream. There was a couple of visions. Then I had a dream of me going to the location where he said the church was. I won't explain the whole dream, but it basically, there were two people in the dream. I didn't know these people. I'd never met these people in my life, and I couldn't even tell this like skin. I knew it was two white people, but like the man had like black and white hair, and then the lady had blonde hair. The lady had blonde hair, but I could tell they like the silhouette and the way they walk, but I couldn't tell their faces because it was like they were shining almost. I walked past them, and then yeah, things happened in the dream, and I woke up. Then yeah, then the next, because there's two churches in my area, so I visited one first. Then I was like, nah, there's something off about this church. There's something off about this church. So then I walked around, and then I saw the other church, which my friend was talking about, found that, and then listened to this stuff online. I was like, okay, I'm going to I'm going to join this church. I'm going to try this church out because all the other churches in my area were like these old. There's an Anglican church in my area. There's the church that I thought my friend was talking about, which was not. Um, it's more of a non what do you call this, non-denominational church. There's nothing bad with these churches at all. If you part of the Anglican or non-denominational church, I believe you're definitely saved. Like as long as it's gospel centered, well and truly, I can't judge. I am not the judge around here. And then there's a Catholic church. I have my own problems with the Catholic Church, but those are my problems. I'm not gonna impose my opinions or anything onto you. Anyway, so I decided to join the church. So this was Joshua Generation, Milnerton, and I joined them on the 6th of, yeah, the 6th of April, 2025. It's like, yo, that day, wow, special things happened on that day, and I genuinely turned into a baby. Um, cried so much. Um, I actually felt welcomed. Like the ones, if you from Josh Jane Mountain, thanks for watching, first of all. But you've probably heard the message that I sent on the congregational group that, yeah, that day was really special for me. And the next day, not the next day, the 13th of April, I'll say is the day of my salvation. Yes, people will lead me to the Lord on the 6th, but the 13th is the day I can fully say where I gave my life over to Jesus, well and truly. And taking that decision wasn't easy. something that I took very serious. I take and will take very seriously. I am not playing around in this because I've read the Bible and I'm still I'm reading Unlocking the Bible. I'm trying to understand the word to the best of my ability, but knowing that my salvation does not hinge on this because Jesus has already died on the cross and was resurrected. So we've truly been saved. And as someone that's coming from outside, obviously all of us are coming from outside, unless you grew up with your parents as pastors or, yeah, unless you fully grew up in the church, which I didn't. So we all coming in from outside. It's very different. Like dying to live is, yes, our Josh Jen has a Dying to Live podcast, but like the dying to live concept in the Bible, I forgot what verse it is, but that whole concept is what most people are struggling with. And even in the outside world, where I was watching the spiritual teachers and all that, Christianity is frowned upon. Like it's the one religion that always gets made fun of. If you watch Hollywood, you will see what I'm talking about because it requires the most out of people. And people that say they are Christians and then do the things that they do, like even it says in the Bible, people will say they're Christians, they will profess Jesus' name and say, I did so many things in your name. But then Jesus will say, like, I never knew you. Because your heart was not in the right position. Like, your heart posture was incorrect this whole time. You were doing it for worldly things. And looking at all the esoterics and this can be a whole nother video, but I'm just going to touch briefly on this. Just looking at, everyone will clap if you're Buddhist, Muslim, Jew, they will respect your decision. But as soon as you say you're Christian, that's when the problems start. And I'm not the only one that has seen this. There are a couple of people that have converted from other religions, and they also say the same thing. As soon as you say you're Christian, you get treated differently. And I genuinely don't believe that the apostles made this up because they actually put their lives on the line. Like if you read the Gospels and read historic books of, yes, there are people that use Christianity as a weapon later on, like around, I'd say 13th century, yeah, post the 10th century. Christianity was used as a weapon, and the Crusades and whatnot, and colonization and all that. But before that, these people were putting their lives on the line. They were all like, there were so many martyrs that we forget about. But anyway, I've deviated from what I came here to talk about. But well and truly, life is not easy as a Christian at all. It actually makes life harder. Something that I wish someone not really warned me about, but gave me a heads up. But it's harder for the right reasons. The lust is slowly dying away. I'm growing in family. I've actually found a community. Like our church has communities, so I'm growing within that, and there's so much good that's coming out of that. I'm actually starting to have friends, and I'm no longer feeling isolated. Um, yeah, it was also my last season playing hockey last year. For now, I don't know what God has for me. That's a whole nother story. I actually want to make a video on that one. It's just clearing confusion from the esoteric and agnostics and all of these new age stuff, because there was a whole event that happened around it. I'll probably make a video about that. Then I visited PE. If you probably watched one of the videos, I'll probably talk about PE soon. And then I started building my foundation. Like, this is what I want to build for the future, for me, for myself personally. And I want to be a family man one day. So that's what I'm building towards. And then the void happened. Oh, the void was a destructive time, but in those destructive times, that's when God builds us the most, genuinely. So after that, basically, it was the start of the year. So January to now, and ever since the void, because of the void, like things started popping up, like the lust and me being lazy again started creeping in. Everything just started creeping in. The void is what I call December. It's like December, Christmas Day till New Year's Eve. That's the void. That week is just a weird time period. It needs to be studied by someone. I don't know what goes down there, but there's something. And this year, going into the void, I know I'm prepared for it. So coming out of the void, there was a dream that happened, and I told the person that's discipling me what went down, and I am truly dying to live. I'm in the greatest war of my life, and it's me versus me. No one else. It's just me versus me. And I'm continuing building the foundation, building the business that I want, and I'm gaining the knowledge that I need to gain. And yeah, it's been great. It's been great in terms of growth, but it's also been very painful because the way I started off this year was just a whirlwind. Shout out Melissa and Warren because they dealt with that whirlwind, the, the the beginning of the war, because it was a crazy, crazy time. Most people don't know about this, didn't know about what happened, and they probably won't know what happened during that time unless I speak about it. But it was really a crazy time. So yeah, so right now I'm still building the business, and I've really enjoyed my time as part of the church. So by the time you see this video, it's gonna be the 6th. So that would be 1 year, basically my church birthday. It'd be 1 year since I joined Josh Chamberlain's. But guys, thanks for listening. This is part of my testimony. There's so many other things that I want to share. But if you watch the channel, you will know everything. Like obviously not my personal stuff, but you will know about me. This is basically my personal channel where I just throw up everything. And yeah, stay safe, stay blameless, and I'll see you when I see you.